Namaste, friends. All right, today we're doing some hip work. We're going to do something called a hip butterfly, which was originally taught to me using the exercise ball. I don't expect all of you to have one. And I think that using a brick is a little bit more of a challenge, potentially even more beneficial. So let's give this a try. Now, I typically prefer my cork bricks for most exercises that I do, but in this case, the soft, squishy brick is going to serve us better. So find a wall space, okay, and you're going to bring this brick on its medium setting into the wall and pin it there with one of your knees. Okay, so your goal is to just keep the brick here, keep it pinned. Okay, we're going to line up the other foot at first, hips facing the wall. So you can do this in socks or without socks. I'm just cold and I kind of like the slipperiness. Okay, so now I'm going to just pivot my hips open. And it's really hard, actually, not to pull my other knee towards you and drop this brick. Okay, if I keep my heel up, it's a little bit more work, and I'm going to pivot back. Good, so you should feel the hips working and opening. And if you feel a little wobbly, me too. All good. Okay. Side effect of doing it in my sock is that it slips wider and wider. So you just have to watch that. Okay. So you can do however many feels good here. Pause the video and do a few more. We're going to switch sides. You won't be able to see as well, but I can't get to my other wall in the frame. So you're going to pin it. Pin the brick to the wall. Make sure you feel stable. Right? And we start with hips facing the wall, and then we pivot open. So something interesting you should be taking note of is if this feels different on one side than the other, because it very well might, depending on what your hips are doing. And just keep pressing that brick into the wall, which might feel difficult. That's okay. We'll do a few more, and then we have two other hip exercises here. So remember, if you're in a sock like me and you're slipping wider and wider, rein it in so you don't hurt yourself. Last one. All right, we can drop this brick. And we're going to come to laying down. I should have told you before, grab your stretchy band. That's for our third exercise. So this is called a frog bridge. You're going to lay back and set up just like you're heading into bridge. But then you're going to bring the bottoms of your feet together, knees wide open. Hands can be at your sides, palms pressed into the neck. So we're going to lift the hips like we normally do in bridge. It's a little bit harder and trickier here. Things I want you to expect, feeling the hard work, and not getting your hips as high as you think, okay? All right, so take a nice deep breath in. On your exhale, pull the points of your hips together, pull your belly button to the back of your heart, press the bottoms of your feet together, and lift. Good. Set it down. We'll keep it dynamic here, moving instead of just lifting and staying. Okay, so something else you want to think about here is this is a hip exercise. So while your glutes are certainly participating, you don't want to be squeezing them so hard here because then the glutes are overcompensating and you're not getting the hip strengthening that you're looking for. Okay? Those are muscle groups that play off of each other. And oftentimes, so like in pregnancy, for example, the fact of the matter is that you're just going to lose a lot of your glute strength. And that's why we have a lot of hip pain, maybe in pregnancy, maybe after, in terms of regaining strength. It's all connected. It's way more complicated than I just made it sound. But what you need to know here is squeeze your feet together, use your hips to lift. Obviously your butt muscles are working, but don't squeeze them fiercely. This is not a glute bridge. This is a hip bridge. Do one more. Beautiful. Set that booty down. Good. Roll to one side. And we're going to put your stretchy band, resistance band on the tops of the calves. So I'm using my light band. So there's like 2 circles filled in. I have one that's even easier to use, and I have 3 that are harder. But I'm not trying to kick my own butt today. Now, when we do glute exercises, we keep the knees bent. This is a hip exercise, so the legs are going to be straight instead. Make sure you're not holding your own head up for no reason here. Relax on the hand or lay it down. I like to see, so I prop my head up. Okay? We'll have to set an amount here because I usually just talk and don't pay attention. So these are just hip adductions. Lift your top leg. We're just creating resistance on the outside of the hip. Keep the feet flexed if you can. The resistance band might move around, and if you're someone like me that's like super obnoxious and you're getting distracted by it, don't worry about it. Or if you have to worry about it, go ahead and fix it, but it doesn't really matter as long as you're getting this. You should feel that. I think that was 5, 6. Let's do 7 for the sake of time. Good, and then you're just gonna roll over to the other side, which hopefully means you're rolling away from the screen, which is great because you don't need to just look at the butt the whole time. All right, so again, flat feet, flex them, lift that leg. Feel that resistance on the outside of the hip. Also starting to note, right, is this harder on one side than the other? I'm on 3, 4. We usually have a hip imbalance. One hip is having a harder time than the other. Maybe in different ways. I think that's 7. Feel free to do one more for good measure. Who knows? All right. If you want to say goodbye, you can roll back to the screen. Hope your hips feel a little stronger after that. Namaste.